The sky so far, but I can't lose it.
Sim racers from around the globe, honoring a revolutionary era of open-wheel racing. With a beast not easily tamed, roaring around legendary circuits at breakneck speed. When engineers and drivers push boundaries, sometimes too far. When heroes muscled roaring beast wheel to wheel around the hallowed grounds. A time when the only driver aids were his 2 feet. Perfect combination of man, machine, and speed. Experience the competition and the glory of the early 80s IndyCar action. The Lionheart Retro Series, presented by Sim Experience, starts now.
Just 6 races remain in the 2021 Lionheart Retro Series as the drivers touch down in the shadow of the Gateway Arch. In a fuel mileage race 2 weeks ago, David Rodriguez took home his debut Lionheart victory in just his 2nd race in the series, shocking the paddock with a fuel strategy that no one thought achievable. Will we see a similar situation here today, or will we see another photo finish at a track that has delivered them over the years? This is the Worldwide Technology Raceway. This is the HyperX Gateway 150. Hello and welcome back to Racebot TV and coverage of the Lionheart Racing Series. My name is Arjuna Kankipati, delighted to be joined as always by my broadcast partner Dylan Cole. You can follow along with live timing and scoring by heading to racebot.tv/Indy. Thanks to our partners at ATVO, you can follow along with your favorite team and drivers. It's been a very fun run. Let's dive straight in to our HyperX pre-race show because the Lionheart Racing Series is powered by HyperX, makers of premier gaming gear like the legendary ultra-comfortable Cloud line of gaming headsets. Whatever you play, however you play, HyperX knows that we're all gamers. For more information on HyperX products, visit hyperxgaming.com and don't forget to use the promo code Lionheart15, that's LIONHRT15 for 15% off all orders. It's been so much fun, Dylan. These run of short track races that we've had, I think some might argue that Gateway at 1.25 miles is not necessarily a short track, but it definitely races like that here in the Lotus 79. After this, just one more oval before we'll go road racing. What a run that's going to be. Silverstone, Long Beach, and Road America, all building up to the final Triple Crown race of the season at Auto Club Speedway.
You know, Gateway is a intermediate track with short track features to it. Cannot wait to see how these drivers fare in the corners. The straightaways are going to be electric with the draft. The rest of the schedule, like you said, is just immense.
Such a fun ride. David Rodriguez had the gift of the fuel-growing tree in his tank last time around. Potentially, strategy might come into play here, but let's take a look at our driver standings presented by the Sim Experience AccuForce Pro V2. And we were talking before we came on air, Dylan. What a season for Matt Taylor, not just in his rookie campaign here in the Lotus 79, but across Lionheart sanctioned event. And over the last couple of weeks, he has really dug deep. He now has almost a 50-point advantage over Mike Rasmussen. Aaron Morgan only 2 points behind Rasmussen in that battle for the championship. All three drivers are well and truly in the championship fight. It's going to come down, I think, to their run here as we head towards the road races. We know we've seen it over the course of 2021. Anything can happen when you go left and right.
You know, the most important thing for me with Matt Taylor is that consistency. You know, he has only had 2 wins on the season, but a lot of top 5s, 10 top 10s. And don't forget, he is 4th in the entire series for laps completed with 996 laps. That's enough to make sure that you're currently in first place.
And very much, I think you're right. Consistency is what gives you championships at the end of the day. It's not necessarily about being the flashiest driver, winning those odd races, but about being there, being at the top come the end of every race. Let's talk a little bit then about these rookie standings presented by Butt Kicker. And well, yes, Matt Taylor, top of the driver's standings, top of the rookie standings as well. Been some very impressive runs on the campaign. The likes of Chris Fowler, David Sirard, Michael O'Brien, they're in only separated by 6 points heading into tonight's action. But I'm really interested in seeing what Lavoie Motorsports can do. We saw David Sirard put it on pole last time from the Iowa Speedway. Lavoie Motorsports came into this championship, Dylan, with lots of experience in the Lotus 79, but that was on the road courses. They have got themselves faster and faster over the course of the year. David Sirard sits in 2nd in practice right now.
You know, the amazing thing for me is the closeness of not just the rookie standings battles, but also the battles going on in the overall championship. 4th place on back. It's very close. So we've got a lot of consistently good drivers in the field. Maybe they're not running away with it like Matt Taylor and the top 3 are, but I mean, these rookies here, they're fast and they can compete well.
Been such a strong rookie class, and in a championship that has so many rookies, it is great to really have new faces to the Lionheart campaign and showing themselves, acquitting themselves well. Here's a look then at your team standings presented by HyperX, and well, no such battle for the lead here. Avatar Auto Racing, the grouping that Matt Taylor and Aaron Morgan have had at the front, they've been so consistent. They have led their outfit to almost 400 points clear of Graphics LC Motorsports, AeroX Racing, and Lavoie Motorsports. But just like in those other championships, Dylan, we've got some close battles. Graphics and Lavoie separated by just 43 points with 6 races left to go.
I mean, the whole story here is the domination from Avatar. They've got 10 more top 10s than Graphics, obviously the second most, tied with Lavoie Motorsports for those top 10s in the series. They're running away with it. Yes, we have the closeness of that battle too. I think it's just something to marvel at, though, how good Avatar has been this season with both of their drivers.
I mean, it's also Michael O'Brien, whose name just slipped my mind for a moment there when I was referring to their drivers, but he's been impressive, not just here in the Retro Series, but in the Indy cars as well. Qualified in 2nd when they went to Phillip Island for the Thunder Down Under just a couple of weeks ago, last week. Oh wow, how time really does fly here in the Lionheart Racing Series. He is Struggled then in the race, but definitely shown just how strong he is competing in the elite Lionheart competitions. Let's talk a little bit about these series details presented by Minus 273, the premier name in karting gloves. Their industry-leading gloves are super lightweight and durable, made of a breathable poly spandex. Whether you're a kart or a sim racer, Minus 273 gives you the control to reach victory lane. For more information on Minus 273's full line of gloves and apparel, visit minus273.biz, and don't forget to use the promo code Minus273LHRS15 for 15% off all orders. We are campaigning the classic Lotus 79. For the final time in 2021, drivers have this current tire model to get to grips with. They'll have a brand new tire model dropping in the new iRacing build just 6 days from now. Championship favorites will then have their work cut out to master that new tire model, but they're all racing on that same custom fixed setup built by newest member of Racebot TV, Andrew Kinsella. They're fighting for their share of almost $7,000 in cash and prizes. Only one more Triple Crown to go this year, Dylan, and of course it's at the very fast Fontana Auto Club Speedway.
Auto Club Speedway has served up some of my favorite IndyCar races over the past decade. Who can forget that 2015 race in the summer? I believe it was June, late June, that was, where we saw Ryan Briscoe go for a little bit of a ride at the end of the race. Always gives us some great action. I don't think it's going to be any different here at the end of the Retro Series season.
And, well, the defending series champion, Ryan Otis, finds himself campaigning for the Lionheart Indy Camp trophy, trying to steal it away from Adam Blocker. Sorry, I got myself a bit stumbled there. But that does mean there is something on the table for those 3 drivers to fight for the right to call themselves a Lionheart champion. It's a 5th trip to the Prairie State for the Lotus 79s, and in 3 of the 4 races that have taken place, the race winner has only led 13 laps or less. 12 months ago, in a race that saw just 1 caution flag in the entire race, Mike Razmas led only 2 laps to take the checkered flag. And we know, Dylan, Razmas needs a victory here to really prop up the momentum that has been slipping away from him. He's going to be hoping we don't finish under caution for the 2nd time in history.
Well, you know what? If he is in the lead, though, and it ends under caution, I think he'd be a little bit happy with that. Both he and Aaron Morgan need to get some really good points finishes and wins in the final few races of the season, and hope that Matt Taylor stumbles a little bit. It'll be difficult for both of them, but there's still time.
There's time, but not much of it by any stretch of the imagination, Dylan. I mean, we're coming into the business end of things. 66%, 2/3, I should say, to make things easy. 2/3 of the season has been done. We're into that final third, that final push to the checkered flag, to victory potentially for a new champion. And of course, closest margin of victory, 1.5 hundredths of a second, Dylan. That is incredible. You said that Gateway is an intermediate track that sometimes has those short track characteristics. If we get a long run here, it will be interesting to see just how close the pack is. We saw last time from Iowa, that pack really got separated.
That pack got separated, and we saw the dirty air really come into play. It's going to be interesting to see what happens here. I think dirty air will not be as important, not be as worrying, just because, well, these straightaways. It's going to lead to a lot of draft fests here.
And well, I do have to ask you, Dylan, as we say hello to you from our Racebot TV commentary booth, which of the tracks coming up do you think is going to be the most fun for the drivers? We've got Michigan and Fontana, obviously fast speedway ovals, super speedway ovals in some regard. Then we've got Silverstone, Long Beach, and Road America. 3 very interesting road courses, all very different as well.
Wow, you put me really on the spot right there. You know what? I'm going to say Michigan will be the most fun for us to watch, just because it's going to be that whole pack racing draft battle. Auto Club might be a little bit of, we might see some conservative racing happening there from the championship leader, whoever it is at that time. If it serves to be Matt Taylor, he has a big lead. He's not going to try and force anything. So I think just for the craziness, the last chance on ovals before we get to the road course section, and of course the final over the year, Michigan is going to be a fun watch.
I'm going to be honest. I think Long Beach. I think Long Beach is going to be fun because staying out of the walls, yes, it's often terrifying, but by the same token, just does mean you have to be on it. Yeah, for fun. I like the challenge of going there, trying to stay out of the fountain. I think that's going to be the primary thing for today's drivers. Qualifying is underway here as we're not under sunset conditions. We are now well and truly under the night lights. And I tell you what, all the drivers will be hoping we don't have what happened during the Truck Series race here earlier in 2021. Let's hope the lights stay on over the course of the evening. You know what I'm talking about, Dylan.
Yes.
Well,
yes, that was quite wild.
That wild, I think, is an understatement. And as you can see, qualifying lap times are coming in. 3 minutes left on the clock, and it's Chris Fowler, provisional pole position, 3,000th in front of Chris Reagan. Mike Rigney in the 00 says, hello, I'll take that pole position away from you. Still waiting for the championship rivals to head out onto track, though, and to set their fastest lap times. I do see Mike Razmas has already qualified, Dylan. Provisional 7th with still 12-plus cars yet to run.
Oh, that's not a good time for him. I mean, look at the top of the charts right now. He's 2/10 back. He's going to continue to fall. He'd be lucky to really stick around in top 12.
Taking a look at the winner from a couple of weeks ago. Still trying to figure out what magic he had in his fuel tank to get himself to the end. He's ducking and diving down that straightaway. Not sure what's going on here for David Rodriguez in the beautiful RSR Esport car. Usually red and black, but I must say green and black does look pretty nice on this classic open wheel machine. Aaron Morgan is also working himself up to speed in the white and yellow number 48 car. Across the line he will come, I believe starting his first flying lap.
Actually, I think he put in a lap. That was his first lap, I think, a 29.8 currently showing. That's a little bit concerning.
Michael O'Brien, Avatar Order Racing driver, punches his ticket to provisional pole. First driver to break into the 28.981. Can his teammate match him? Out then of turn number 4, Aaron Morgan for the final time in qualifying. 29.007 is good enough for second, not good enough for pole. Now what?
Taylor!
Oh, Taylor, it's an Avatar Order Racing 1, 2, and 3. We've seen them do this in the past, Dylan, but now they've got to control the rest of this race.
This is worst case scenario for Mike Razmas right now.
David Sirrah, second time in 2 consecutive races. Pole position looks to be his.
Wow, he snatched it up right as we go into the last minute. Is there anybody left to go? Craig Forsyth. I'm not sure if Richie Hearn is going to be taking some spins out here. It looks like he's going to just let it ride for the rest of this qualifying session. Forsyth, he crosses the line with a 29.8, so I believe this is going to be his second chance, last time around this track.
David Sirrah, what magic has he figured out here? He's stolen that 1, 2, and 3 for Avatar Auto Racing, and I must tell you, really impressed at what he did last time, Dylan. It was only because of an untimely caution for him that he got cycled back in the pack. He was looking good to dominate the race.
Did you see Forsyth's line? Did you see his line? What did he come out with? Oh, I thought it was a little quicker as he crossed, but we had a little bit of delay there in that timing and scoring. But did you see that interesting line? He stuck himself all the way down to that apex. I don't think that's the way to go. I think you almost have to come into this as wide as possible, hit the apex, just like a normal corner. No diamonds, nothing like that.
In the shadow of the Gateway Arch, let's go trackside and take a look at our starting grid here today. It's the butt kicker starting grid. David Sirrah, for the second time in a row, puts it on pole position. And as Andrew Kinsella says in the YouTube chat, no oval experience coming into this season. He thinks he likes them now. Michael O'Brien gets pipped at the line. It is less than 1/100th of a second between those two drivers. O'Brien starts in second for a second consecutive Lionheart competition. Aaron Morgan, Matt Taylor, teammates squabbling over the championship. They'll share row number 2 with Mike Rigney, Chris Fowler completing the top 6. Christopher Reagan in the silver and purple trades his motorcycle for a Lotus 79. Rocket ships in their own right. He'll be inside of Chris Lanini with Paul Jenkins and Dustin Wardlow, the Candyman, completing our top 10. Series organizer Jordan Zaldo lines up in 11th alongside David Rodriguez. Victory last time. Rodriguez has a lot of work to do from the outside of row number 6. Danny Roberts 13th with Nick DeGroot for factory back lining up in 14th with Jean-Francois Matt, DJ Clark 15th and 16th. Alex Guyon, Chris Staples, they share row number 9 with Mike Razmas coming into this race second in the championship, lining up back in 19th. He has to work his way through the pack alongside Robert Mikes. Isaac Schneider in the pink and blue will line up inside of Craig Forsyth. Ariel Alanis, the final car to set a qualifying lap time, with Richie Hearn starting from the tail end, the only car not to put a time onto the board. That was, as Mark Cohen says, an intense qualifying session. We are ready for 120 laps of racing, and as always, we have onboard cameras with every single one of these drivers. Let's talk you through the featured onboards. First up, it's Chris Lanini with the HyperX onboard. Whatever you play, however you play, HyperX knows that we're all gamers, and HyperX is always ready to game. Aaron Morgan has the Midwest Simulations onboard, makers of the Spotlight Virtual Spotter System. You watch the track, we'll watch the rest. Second in the championship, Mike Razmas has the Graphics Esports onboard. World-class design from the real world to virtual. Visit graphicsesports.com. The factory-backed machine of Nick DeGroot has our butt kicker camera. What you see and what you hear is what you feel. For more information, visit thebuttkicker.com. Competition, commitment, excitement. This is Lionheart, and we are ready to go racing under the night lights at the Worldwide Technology Raceway. David Sirra, for the second time in a row, has put it on pole position. The pace car will be down onto the safety of pit lane. Sirra will be in control. We are ready to go racing. This is the HyperX Gateway 150, and we are racing here in the shadow of the Gateway Arch. It is a long hold from Sirra as we enter the start zone. We are racing. We are waiting. We are still waiting. Now we are racing. Chris Fowler pops himself out of line 3 wide. Championship leader has to try and defend on the inside line from the 00 of Mike Rigney. Inside line will work well on the start, but it will be interesting to see which line is the preferred line on the longer run, as Matt Taylor already shuffled down to 5th position.
Already, you see all these drivers trying to shuffle for position. We have 3 wide back here. It's just lap 1. These drivers already going at it, and yellow is out.
And it's LeVois Motorsports teammate of David Sirra. It is Jean-Francois Matt, and I think DJ Clark is being involved in this one as well. So very early caution. I think I have to take the blame for that one, Dylan, don't I?
Uh-huh. Yeah. You do.
I was saying before we went live that maybe we'll get a relatively caution-free race here today. There is the LeVois Motorsports machine. Oh, Staples and Clark coming together, and Clark gets, I think, the worst of that one. Let's go ahead and take one more look at it.
Yeah, so it looks like Staples is going under for not really late dive. He was not necessarily next to him, but it is an oval, so even if you have a little bit there, you are entitled to your positioning. Still, though, it's. I don't know if I put my wing out there. We'll catch it on board from Matt's position. Gets into the draft. Staples does, and no, he got into the gearbox. So that's not even a side of the car. And obviously, Matt, I think he's definitely an innocent bystander who gets collected majorly in that.
And so we are seeing a couple of cars diving their way onto pit road. Nick DeGroot, followed in by Chris Staples, Richie Hearn, topping themselves up on some fuel. The fuel window, Dylan, is 48-49 laps. This is not the worst call, if you ask me. We get a couple more cautions that play out in these guys' favor. They will cycle to the front with track position, and we know in a car that doesn't take tires over the course of the race, track position is key.
Well, it depends. If you're pitting from the top 10 up there in that positioning, then this is not a great call. But if you're in the back already, why not, right? It's going to give you some extra leeway if you're trying to make it on strategy here by the end of the race.
Lead change record for the league. I just had to make sure I was reading this correctly. 36 back in Season 2. Not what you typically expect when you go to this type of a racetrack with this type of a car, Dylan.
Yeah, not really. And you know what? I feel like we're going to see way fewer than that over the course of this race, especially if we see all of these cautions happening. What could it be? Could it be just one caution for the entire race like last year, or the season before with 11? You know, Arjuna, you did say beforehand we think it's going to be a very light caution race, and hey, it might still be. we don't know that for sure. Well, let's still hold out some hope, but that was definitely a little bit of over-eagerness, I think, coming into play.
Knocking on the wood, that's what we're doing for sure. We are knocking on the wood around us that will stay green for a bit longer this time around. The lights are off on the pace car. I didn't get a prediction from you, Dylan, is what I've just realized. So you got a couple of moments here. Let's get some predictions.
I was thinking that David R. Rodriguez is going to win this race. Again. Well, we're already seeing some replication here. David Sirwa getting the pole.
Oh, that's true. I mean, if you look at the form book, things look pretty good for that RSR Esport machine. I must say, it was a wonderful strategy there. Paul Jenkins was moments away. He just needed that magic fuel strategy, or magic fuel tree growing in his car that it looked like David Rodriguez had. Pace car is in. We are ready to go racing once more here from the Worldwide Technology Raceway. It's a long hold once more, but Sirwa picks up the green flag. Aaron Morgan is all over his rear end as we come back to green. Danny Roberts looking to the inside of series organizer George Anzaldo further back in your pack, but single file at the front of your field. Now Chris Fowler attacking the back of Matt Taylor, and he has got a great run heading down the back straightaway.
Yeah, but look who has an even better run. It's Chris Reagan, who's going to go down the inside of Fowler, and he comes all the way down the curbing. That's going to really unsettle the car. He gets out of the throttle, and he is losing a lot of time already out of 4.
Looks like you don't necessarily want to try and diamond down to the inside. Now Reagan coming under pressure from the Candyman as Sirwa will lead the first green flag lap as running alternate lines, just trying to find a pocket of clean air. Here comes Reagan defending the inside line from the Candyman. The Candyman full of confidence, returning to Lionheart Competition. Just a couple of races ago, he gets on past Reagan, up to 7th spot.
Can't stop thinking of that new movie coming out right now, The Candyman. Is it about him? No, not at all.
Well, maybe we need someone in this Lionheart community to do their own little feature film about some of these characters. We've had a fun time calling the action as now Chris Lanini trying to get around Paul Jenkins. Paul Jenkins has had an awful run in 2021, looking for some redemption, but he will lose the position at least for the time being. There is the man that Dylan has picked to win today's action, David Rodriguez, attacking George Anzaldo, defending from Alex Guyon.
There is a mess going on right in front of Mike Rasmus. 3 wide happening. Rodriguez trying to push all the way. Guyon, or excuse me, looked like Danny Roberts down low. Oh, man. This is some intense action in the early stages. Roberts is going to slide up right where it looked like Mike Rasmus was trying to make moves. This is potentially going to help Rasmus if he's able to take control of his race right now and get by these drivers who are already fighting it out. He doesn't want to be involved in this.
Yeah, but this is scary. This is very, very scary if you're Mike Rasmus, who's just going to lift off very slightly, not attack the rear end of Robert Mikes. He's up 4 positions from where he started. That's the good news. He's still in 15th. He is still in the thick of the action. Up front, the gap has opened up very slightly as David Sirwa throws the car down in towards turn number 3. Half a second between him and Aaron Morgan behind. Not so much separation between Morgan and O'Brien right behind them. Rigney trying to attack the rear end as well. It is well and truly single file at the front of the field. Dylan, this is what I kind of expected at the front. It's a little bit more chaotic, a little bit more frenetic further back.
Yeah, this is definitely what we've expected so far. Obviously, that early caution maybe muddled things up a little bit, but this is Gateway at its best. You have some big runs, some dive bombs, and you've got cars trying to make a run off of turn 4.
Richie Hearn, Nick DeGroot, the 2 cars that came down onto pit road, they've cycled themselves in front of Ariel Alanis, who is, I think, doing the wise thing, at least for the time being, just hanging back and awaiting the caution as Richie Hearn's spotty internet rears its head once more, blinking in and out of existence as the former Indy 500 competitor. Not what you want to see at a track like this, is it, Dylan?
No, not at all. But for Richie Hearn, he's made his way up due to some of the drivers who have left the race so far. He's going to potentially look at another move as well down the inside of Forsyth. I don't think it's going to work out for him, and Hearn gets really out of the throttle trying to take the low line. I think the low line is really never going to work unless you go there early in a corner trying to make a move and then slide up a little bit. It's just never going to work. Look at how much Hearn is trying to hug that inside line. He's losing so much time doing it.
And De Groot takes full advantage of that. We'll cycle on through. As you can see just in front, Razmas is attacking. There's some side-by-side action up and down through the field. The Candyman looking to the inside of the championship leader just in front of George Anzaldo and Paul Jenkins. The Candyman is shuffling right now. Left-hand side of the screen, you can see your movers and shakers. Wardlow, +3. Alex Guyon, though, one of the biggest movers, +5. Bob Mikes, another driver that's had a bit of an inconsistent run here in 2021. He's +6 into 14th spot, but 14 laps in the books. A 50-lap fuel window, of course, that will be slightly extended, Dylan, by the fact that we had that early caution period. Green flag pit stops. Let's talk about it. Let's hope that we're not going to jinx it. It is a tough entry onto pit road here.
Yeah, it's terribly tough, and if you're trying to make it down pit road with a bunch of other cars, good luck, because that entry is not wide enough for anything more than 2 cars and a slice of paper right in between.
Too wide, too deep. Razmas to the inside of Mike's. David Rodriguez challenging Alex Guyon. Nothing happening yet, but I'm keeping an eye on our YouTube chat. And the man that built the setup, Andrew Kinsella, is telling us the low line will come in after about 80 laps or so. So I think what we're going to have to see here, Dylan, is cars maybe running around for those first 80 laps, the first 2/3 of this race, and then attacking those final stages. It's getting yourself to that point, though, putting yourself in the right position as Paul Jenkins, George Anzaldo still duking it out on the edge of the top 10. And now Jenkins will look to the inside of Lanini, will just refrain from diving to the inside. But very much it's going to be the long game here that gets you through the field.
I love hearing that type of insight, especially from the man behind all of this, because once that low line does come in, we're going to see. I wonder if that also means the high line goes out in a way. If we'll have 3-groove racing, that would be amazing.
3 grooves at a track like Gateway, that would be insane.
Yeah.
Another comment that I've seen in the YouTube chat references the former F1 driver Romain Grosjean, who made his first ever oval appearance here at this very track when the NTT IndyCar Series came here. And, well, what a performance it was from him. He was like one of those cars, the only one of the cars that I really saw, Dylan, making moves at both ends of the racetrack, either side of his competition, for a driver that has no oval experience before he came here, as Richie Hearn, a driver with plenty of IndyCar experience, puts in the fastest lap with a 29.036. For Grosjean, it was like a trial by fire, and he came out on the other side looking spectacular.
It was beautiful to see. That 1 lap down finish was so unfair, especially for how good of a drive he had. He was just slicing through traffic. It was so fun to see. Even when he was a lap down in that final restart, that final sprint to the finish line, he was still going all out, trying to make moves, trying to get them done. Speaking about moves, Mike Razmas almost just clipped himself to that wall once it came back into normal straight line shape. Did you see that?
Yeah, no, I think as we look rearwards from Alex Guyon, he is side by side with Robert Mikes, who committed himself to that inside, and Razmas trying to take full advantage. Still side by side, it's allowing the likes of Danny Roberts, Nick de Groot to close the gap very slightly. Razmas finally manages to clear on by. There is some separation starting to form between the front and the rear of the train. It might mean that lap traffic is going to be a thing at some point in today's action, as here we go, Jenkins and Lanini side by side. It's Jenkins on the attack, Lanini defending, but it's definitely starting to see that inside slowly, very slowly, coming into effect, but I think Lanini will defend for now. There you can see on the bottom right portion of your screen, Dylan, that track map, and the cars are separated by a straightaway, at least for the time being, but we saw this at Iowa. The longer the green flag run went, the more the traffic became a factor.
Do you think traffic will ever become a factor in this race? Hey, if we have a lot of green flag racing, it absolutely will be. I just don't think we're going to get to that point.
I'm trying to think on the bright side. I've already done that commentator's curse.
Yeah, well, let's be realistic though here, Arjuna. Let's be realistic as well.
And let's make it clear. Now it's you that's putting the commentator's curse down if anything happens.
Is it a curse if I'm saying it's probably going to happen?
Yes.
I thought the curse was when you say it's not going to happen.
I'm going to put it both ways. I'm just going to say you're asking, you're playing with the fire. You're asking for disaster. Here we go, though. RaceSpot making moves. These cars now 0.7 of a second behind. David Rodriguez just in front of them. I don't think RaceSpot needs to really lose any more time at this point because he needs to be in a top 10 position, I would say, Dylan, if he really wants to continue the championship fight. He's been struggling, I think, the last couple of weeks. It goes back to Motegi, which was what do you want to say about that race?
That was certainly a race that happened and was won by a driver.
I think you put it perfectly there. I mean, before that race, RaceSpot victorious at the Grand Prix of Sonoma. Out of that race, I think we had, 5 cars on the lead lap at the end of that one?
I think we actually had 8.
Okay, my memory is just a little bit more negative than the reality it would turn out.
You just said you were trying to be a little positive.
I know. Exactly. I'm shocked. Meanwhile, let's turn our attention back up front. Been some great side-by-side action further back, but no such side-by-side as Mike RaceSpot now punches in that fastest lap by 29.005. We have seen that not just as the car burns itself off, lap times get quicker, but as the tires wear, they get quicker as well. Kind of contrary to what you would think, but at the end of the day, that's what happens. Oh, there's been an issue. Danny Roberts, Richie Hearn, they're on the inside of turn number 4. Somehow the caution is still not out.
I don't think it's going to come out either. Wow.
And Richie Hearn dives.
Everything's good.
Yeah, Hearn straight down onto pit road. We turn our attention to the Racebot TV replay machine. Hearn diving to the inside of the 43. There is more contact to the left rear on that bright red machine for Danny Roberts. Have to go and see a little bit further back what happened here, Dylan.
I can see frustration on both sides here. Dives in a little bit late, but there was room. I can see it on both sides.
I tell you what, let's jump on board with Nick de Groot, who had tried to get the move done on Richie Hearn. Hearn shut the door, and I think Danny Roberts then tries to shut the door, and Nick de Groot says, thank you very much, I'll take the position away from you. Isaac Snyder as well, sliding on through. That's that adjusted barrier for the caution that I think we just saw there, Dylan. It was a recent update to the iRacing service where race control, if we can put it this way, is a little bit more lenient on when it throws the caution now. And I mean, we saw it on a number of occasions here on Racebot TV, and it's been perplexing at times. I don't think that one necessarily as perplexing as Mike RaceSpot now side by side with David Rodriguez. Green flag run. The green machine might lose the position.
Well, the green machine is definitely drifting up the track, and I don't know if he's going to be able to hold it here. He does have more speed, though, courtesy of that higher line. Will he be able to hold it here into turn 1 and 2? Still holding it, and they're still side by side. This is some really nice racing here.
And it's only further back at the pack. I mean, it's single file basically through the top 10, and then RaceSpot has been one of the cars that have really tried to shake things up. He's +6 on the day right now, looking to try and make it +7, but Rodriguez is not letting him have it at this point in time, as now Chris Fowler punches in that fastest lap of the race. Is that Richie Hearn just in front of these cars? Internet, I see, clearly still not exactly working properly.
Yeah, well, unfortunately for Richie Hearn, he's laps down now, and he's really going to be racing just for picking up positions in case there's any more incidents.
Richie Hearn is really just waiting for satellite internet and Starlink to become a thing so he can abandon what he's got right now. And I tell you what, we've seen on occasion just how quick he can be. I think back to his pole position from Phillip Island. Just an indication of the pace that Hearn still has when it comes to sim driving. And great to have him around this Lionheart community and really part of the gang. As here is the championship leader. I tell you what, Dylan, I don't think this race has necessarily gone to plan for that black HyperX machine, but that number 8 car, down 2 from where he started, knows that now it might be, given the way the form book is going, I'm not trying to write RaceSpot off just yet, it might be the two Avatar Order Racing teammates that are fighting for the championship here, with Morgan and Taylor really coming on strong.
Well, if memory serves me correct as well, you got 60 points for the win, 55 for second, 50 for third, and then going on from that point, it's 47, 45, 43, 41. So these top three positions mean a lot. Aaron Morgan being in second, he will pick up a good amount of points if this result, if it stays similar to this through the next 90 laps of the race. But Matt Taylor, I mean, he is still holding strong, though, in the championship. You can't fault him for just playing it very conservatively right now, especially when he has a 54-point lead over Mike Rasmussen, 56 over Aaron Morgan.
On board with the Midwest Simulations camera, and the car running in second as Fowler goes fastest once more. This time it's a 28.962. Those times are coming down bit by bit. The race lap record, a 28.356. That was set by Jason Galvin back in Season 2 of Retro Series Competition. Don't necessarily think we're going to get down to those sorts of lap times given how things are going. But again, Dylan, we mentioned it at the start. We should mention it once more. New update coming to the iRacing service next Wednesday. It's going to completely change how this car handles a brand new tire model, not just on the road courses, but here on the ovals as well. It's going to mean that for the likes of Morgan, the likes of Taylor, the likes of Rasmussen, they're going to need to get up to speed as quickly as they can.
My question is, when pit stops happen, are they going to have to change tires? Are the tires going to get slower over the course of a run, which, you know, is the normal way it usually goes, but contrary to every other race car, every other series, these cars don't really seem to lose any speed. They get faster as the tires wear out. Could we see the normalcy of everything getting slower the longer a run goes come into play?
Well, actually, I've just realized something, as now, look at this, behind O'Brien, things are stacking on up. Rigney, Fowler, and Taylor now only separated by about 4/10 of a second at this point in time. Bias ply tires, which are what these cars have. I mean, we're talking, of course, a car that was racing in the late 70s, early 80s. They were pretty durable, and I mean, I've just done a quick search over here, and Dylan, I'm finding out that bias ply tires can outlast the life of the car, and it is not uncommon to keep these tires for decades. Decades.
Wow.
Yeah, so
that is excellence in manufacturing right there.
Right, exactly. I mean, just makes you think how a certain F1 tire maybe isn't as durable as they were in the past. as Mike Rasmussen takes away the fastest lap, we might actually get a race lap record here the way things are going, because now down to a 28.864. David Sirois has broken away even more now. 6/10 and stretching his legs. The last time around it was about 0.03 of a second, bit by bit, Dylan, he is pulling away. And again, I mean, he's really coming to grips with this car on oval. I mean, pole position last time, could have been victorious the way he was dominating the race until he came down onto pit road slightly earlier than the cars behind. He got caught out by the untimely yellow flag. He got trapped back in the pack. So we were talking about green flag pit stops maybe throwing a wrench into the plans of some of these cars. If you're David Sirois, you definitely maybe want to try and stay out there as long as you can.
How much fuel is he using, though?
Well, I was listening when we were riding on board with Aaron Morgan. Let's ride around with Michael O'Brien this time, and you'll listen. He's lifting off through 3 and 4. Don't think he's getting on the brakes. I think through the tighter 1 and 2, that's where potentially just breathing the brake on the entry. Just listen in here. You know what? Maybe not. I heard Morgan downshifting, but O'Brien seems pretty comfortable in whatever gear he's running to power himself out of the corner. Now drags himself up to his Avatar Order Racing teammate.
We really haven't talked about the shape of Worldwide Technology Raceway. Gateway is just such a beautiful egg-shaped oval. I don't know which corner I love watching more. I mean, if you are a driver, which corner do you feel like you would have the most time, most difficulty racing at?
Both, let's be honest, as now Chris Fowler goes fastest. I'm just not great on ovals. We found that out the hard way when I competed in Lionheart competition last year. Just Just not my forte.
You did?
Yeah.
What?
You did not know this?
No, I didn't know this.
Well, yeah. I have one podium to my name. That came at the Indy GP and Lionheart Indycar Competition. Yes, but slightly aided by drama, but let's put it that way, between Adam Blocker and Sage Karam on the main straightaway. I think drama's the
Please tell me you were in race reporting as well.
Oh, that would have been wonderful, but I was not technically really commentating too much then as we watched George Anzaldo, Mike Razmas, as Razmas tries to slip on by. This is crucial for Razmas though now. Up 8 from where he qualified. Anzaldo will slip it back, do the over-under. There was almost contact between the two of them.
Oh, that would have been absolutely detrimental to anything Razmas wants in this championship battle. But the slide up happens right in front. All the momentum will be with Razmas. Anzaldo is really going to have to just defend on the high line.
Razmas now knows with 1.3 seconds to Jenkins in front, he needs to get the move done, needs to get those afterburners spooled up, and needs to really close up to the HyperX racing machine in front. I think he's got the move done for the time being. Anzaldo just searching for the clean areas. He goes all the way to the inside of the curbing. Very, very aggressive through the corner. Nothing doing, at least for the time being. We'll check back in with the front of your field. It is an interestingly shaped oval, and I think that's also then makes the banking at various parts of the track, you know, that much more interesting. 11 degrees through turns 1 and 2, 9 degrees through 3 and 4, so a little bit shallower, a little bit therefore harder to get the power through the corner, the speed through the corner. And I tell you what, Dylan, we are, 28-second lap times. Not as slow as maybe I thought we would. Not a car designed to go oval racing by any stretch of the imagination, but the lap record here at the Worldwide Technology Raceway, a 23.7206. That was set by Will Power and his Team Penske machine back in 2017. So that equates to about 189 mile per hour average, which is insane when you actually think about it.
Amazing.
We're still doing almost 160 miles an hour around this track in the Lotus 79.
Hey, that's still impressive, especially for, like you said, a car that was not built for this type of racing. I feel like, there's just a lot of downforce still in this car, and if we try to compare it to a series like the Truck Series racing here, I mean, you can almost argue that car, compared to this car, wasn't built for oval racing when you see the speeds with the downforce that the Lotus 79s are making. I don't know about you, but I love, as we see another fastest lap, this time by Arjuna
De Groot. I'm going to avoid making the puns. We promised each other, or at least I tried to.
We didn't promise each other anything about not making puns.
I said I was going to avoid it. Oh, Robert Mikes almost loses control in front of De Groot. That was aggressive as he tries to get on past Lavoie Motorsports car of Alex Guyon. David Rodriguez in front now, 1.7 seconds behind George Anzaldo. So I tell you what, let's take a look at that track map, Dylan. These cars getting more and more separated. That 99 car now builds its advantage, 9/10 of a second. He's almost going to be out of drafting range very shortly, but of course we do have pit stops about to get underway.
I think we'll have maybe around 4 more laps before we start to see most of the crowd come in as David Rodriguez gets really tight up against the wall. This is going to give a lot of momentum to Alex Guyon.
And I tell you what, David Sirott is praying and hoping that he doesn't get that untimely caution. He is down very, very early, I tell you, Dylan. Lap 50 just completed. I would have thought that with that first caution that we got, he could have extended this a couple more laps.
Well, what was the question earlier? How much fuel was he using? Not getting aided by the draft when you were in first.
Aaron Morgan will stick it on out there. Now 4/10 clear of his teammates on Avatar Order Racing 1-2. Sirra, you can see that 99 car finally gets himself back up to speed. He will be a lap down, so he is praying and hoping that the caution does not fly. I've also seen appears to have been a technical issue for Robert Mikes as Morgan comes down into pit road. I think this will open the floodgates.
I've seen Well, it looks like Alex Guyon is the next taker. Ariel Alanes is coming in as well. I don't think anybody else is coming down pit road right now. Maybe this lap, you think?
Which way does O'Brien go? Looks like he is staying out there. So he's going to stay out there, but no! Never mind. That was a late entry in.
Aggressive.
Rigney, Fowler, Wardlow will all stay out there, along with Matt Taylor, who has just gotten passed by the Candyman, by the way. So Matt Taylor has now been shuffled down to, I think, net 7th position. O'Brien is followed in by the likes of Chris Reagan, Chris Lanini, as the Candyman goes fastest at 28.774.
Can I just say that pit entry by Michael O'Brien might be the difference between being in first and just in a podium spot?
You can definitely point it
that.
out. Yeah, now let's look at this pit entry. Look at where the cones are. Right there. It is very, very late, and so I am amazed that we've had about the entire field come down onto pit road and we haven't had some sort of an issue. The only car yet to blink, Chris Fowler, and of course Nick DeGroot, who came in on that one and only caution that we've had so far. How's it going to...
Morgan and O'Brien.
Oh.
Morgan's going to get the spot.
And they've cycled in front of David Sirois. So Sirois, for the first time in the race, has to contend with dirty air, but we have seen not necessarily such a factor that's going to slow you down, as now Fowler is in, followed by Nick DeGroot. So Chris Fowler doing an immense amount of fuel saving. Here comes the Candyman, side by side with Sirois on the exit. It is not enough. They'll cycle to net 4th position.
Some great, I saw a YouTube comment. Good job of the drivers. Pit entries fast and smooth. And you're absolutely right about that. All of these drivers so far have been getting down into the pits
that's
very
Fowler.
Cleanly.
Has Fowler done it? He's looking pretty quick. He might cycle himself into net 2nd position at this point, I think, because Morgan has already broken away half a second from his teammate. Fowler is actually in the race lead.
That is incredible. Chris Fowler has just dusted the entire field.
Rigney has followed him. Rigney, by staying out there a couple of laps longer, is into 2nd position. Sirois cycled to 5th.
That is a bad break for David Sirois, and I do wonder if that's partially because of how conservative his pit entry was. O'Brien had a very, very aggressive pit entry, and that didn't really help him at all. Fowler and Rigney, what did they do?
Amazing. I'm looking at the times. Let's see if we can show you them as well here. Not that button. There we go. That's the right button. You can see that's just the pit stop times. Now, can I show you the pit lane time? Don't think I'm going to be able to do that. So racebot.tv/Indy. Follow along with live timing and scoring. That includes the pit lane time. Chris Fowler, 33.9 seconds.
Could we see a potential pass for the lead going down into turn 1? Rigney's going to have the momentum. I think he's a little bit too far back to get anything done, but he's been setting it up into 3 a few times.
Rigney, I think, took a little bit less fuel here, Dylan.
Interesting move. I don't necessarily disagree with it.
Interesting calls. Up and down through the field at this point in time. Top 2, 6/10 clear of Morgan behind. Michael O'Brien a further 8/10 adrift, so now the gaps are opening up. Now there is definite lap traffic that is going to be a factor. It's Danny Roberts that will be the first one to pose a potential threat to the race leader, Chris Fowler, but the 25 car of Ariel Alanis now 15 seconds adrift from the race leader, so halfway through the race, we may have some serious lap traffic to deal with as we cut our way to the checkered flag.
Aaron Morgan, this is going to help him get back into this lead battle. He's just half a second off, and he's closing in quickly.
Man on a mission, I think, as well. He wants that trip down to victory lane as we jump on board with Rigney. Fowler went low, Rigney went high. Is it going to be enough as we come up onto the back of that bright red number 43 car? This is where dirty air is going to be crucial. And Mike Rigney sticks himself in the dirty air. That will harm his run. You can see slides up the track as he comes out of turn number 4. halfway through this race, Dylan, it has been fascinating to say the very least.
You know, I don't think the dirty air hurts as much on a track like this, other than a track like Iowa Slide Job. It's not going to be enough. Is there going to be momentum? Danny Roberts goes down low. Is there going to be a pass for the lead? No, he comes out of it just a little bit. He's going to stick him behind. But what I was saying, Iowa has a lot shorter straightaways, while Gateway has very long straightaways. That means the dirty air effect almost gets nullified by the draft on these long straightaways.
And Danny Roberts wants none of it. He's ducked his way down onto pit road, saying there's plenty more lap traffic about to come and be a factor. He doesn't want to get in the thick of things. Here comes Rigney, though, pulls himself to the inside as we work down this back straightaway. Side by side they go. Rigney to the race lead.
Aaron Morgan just stalking right there. Fowler, will he get a lot of momentum, a lot of speed here on the front stretch? Not nearly enough to make a move. That lead is now with Mike Rigney.
These cars 1 second clear of O'Brien behind, so a bit of a breakaway forming for the podium positions, and definitely a two-stop race now, Dylan. I mean, even if we got a couple of cautions, I would be very shocked if these cars can stretch it. What's it going to be? Upwards of almost 70 laps?
I mean, we see how much it takes these drivers to just barely get into position to make a move. I don't think that we're going to see any extra pit stops except that final one going to come up. The question is, when?
David Rodriguez, Nick DeGroot side by side. Rodriguez really just powers his way through the middle of the corner, but here comes the run from the factory back machine. Ducks himself back to the inside there, fighting for 13th. Alex Guillon in the popcorn seat as DeGroot takes that spot back. I tell you what.
Momentarily, though.
Momentarily, but I tell you what here, Dylan, for Mike Rigney, he is looking strong, already building that gap, now 6/10 clear of Fowler behind. I think partially aided by a slightly shorter fill time. That means just a little bit less fuel, therefore going that little bit faster. But this might be the first victory in his Retro Series career if Rigney in that 0-0 can hold on for the remaining portion of this race.
Let's just turn our attention to 7th and 8th place right now, Arjuna.
Ooh.
Matt Taylor, Mike Razmas. Razmas has caught his way up to this lead group.
I tell you what, I mean, that is a championship mindset when you qualify all the way down in, what was it, 19th position, Dylan? To fight your way
19th.
back, to fight your way back to the top 10 and to be right behind your main championship rival. Astonishing. That is just the testament to the will to work your way through the field. There's still a top 5 potentially on the cards here for Razmas, if not better.
You know, if I'm Matt Taylor, you're still trying to race for points and conservatively, but you can't go away from this race watching Aaron Morgan in a podium spot and Mike Razmas gaining so many positions here. I mean, Taylor, he's gone very high around turns 3 and 4. I don't think it's even going to get him that much momentum. I think he just overcooked the corner.
I think you're right. As you can see, left side, plus 11 for Razmas, the only driver to be double digits in terms of moving and shaking at this point in time, both in terms of plus and minuses. Your biggest losers, of course, the likes of Jean-Francois Matt, DJ Clark, both -9, and the first retirees of the day. Chris Staples then followed a couple of laps after that. Robert Mikes with a technical issue has also retired, so out of 24 starters, we are down to 20 cars still circulating. Richie Hearn, Danny Roberts, 1 lap down. Look at this, though. Look at the gap that Rigney has managed to build. He is now 1 full second clear of Chris Fowler. Rigney is a man possessed.
I have no idea how he was able to do that so quickly. I mean, this is the biggest gap between first and second we've seen all race, and he's making it look easy.
Reagan and Lanini squabbling over 9th and 10th positions. They work themselves side by side at the stripe. I don't think, Dylan, we are going to see a repeat of the closest finish in Lionheart competition here. We are not looking at a race that's going to be decided by 1.5 hundredths of a second. It is going to be a race that is decided by maybe even seconds. It might be a huge victory, similar to the 8 seconds that Mike Razmas took victory over Ricky Harding 12 months ago.
I'm just saying, we'll check back in around 49 laps time and see if you're accurate there.
I tell you what, Razmas has led some laps here, but like we said at the start, Dylan, he led 2. They just happen to be the most important laps of the race.
Ooh, Matt Taylor trying to make a move on Dustin Wardlow. It's not working out for him. This is going to allow Razmas to really get a rundown on these 2 drivers.
As we jump on board with the Graphics Esports onboard, which way is Razmas going to go? Aggressive, conservative, somewhere in the middle? Taylor, I think, feeling the heat as he tries to get on past the Candy Man in 6th position. Wardlow about 6/10 behind. David Sirra right now is to the inside. Here comes Razmas. Can he get the run down this main straightaway? Not going to be close enough for now, but clearly it's Razmas who's looking more comfortable now.
Mike Razmas is making Matt Taylor sweat, and again it looks like Taylor is overcooking the corner. I don't think that's Taylor trying to take a high line. I just think he's losing control of the car a little bit. Razmas, though, he's playing it sort of safe.
Which I think is what you want to do at this point in the championship. Didn't qualify well at Iowa either, so the one thing that he maybe needs to work on before we head to Michigan and Fontana, the next 2 oval races, is work a bit on the qualifying pace, Dylan, because that is a totally different mindset to what then happens in the race.
Nah, he gives us some excitement.
I mean, we like excitement, but I'm sure Razmas also wants to make his life just that little bit easier.
A little bit. I understand maybe not wanting to make it so exciting. You know, he wants to take the Lewis Hamilton approach. Doesn't every driver want to take the Lewis Hamilton? I guess now the Max Verstappen approach.
Well, I guess it depends what track.
Spa.
Yeah, I guess it depends on what track you're racing at as well. Gap out front. Mind-blowing.
Amazing.
Rigney now 2.3 seconds clear. He last time, Dylan, was 0.3 quicker than Chris Fowler behind. Oh,
now question.
Here comes the move from Aaron Morgan. He knows how slow Fowler is being. He can't afford to wait. He'll power around the outside and put Morgan to 2nd spot.
That was a power move. Now I know Mike Razmas, Matt Taylor, how are they going to respond? I'm not sure if they know what just happened there. As Morgan, again, getting the competition back, and I think he's going to continue to hold it here. He's going to have the momentum around the outside, and he's going to keep that position just for the moment. Is a move down the inside in the cards here? Yes, but I don't think he's going to be able to hold it. Look at Morgan. He's pinching him down to the inside. I think that there was a great run there from Chris Fowler.
I think that Fowler is showing us that Andrew Kinsella is right. Almost 80 laps into this race. That inside line is coming on strong. Morgan being forced to work, as is Matt Taylor. He's trying to fight side by side with the Candyman. Razmas is there to pick up the pieces.
But where is Wardlow going to go? He's going to go the middle line. This is a 3-line battle here at Gateway.
Does Razmas have enough? Fowler has managed to clear himself of Morgan, holding on to 2nd position, but now 2.7 seconds adrift. There goes Razmas. He's now past the championship leader.
And Fowler gets a little bit loose down the inside. Aaron Morgan takes the position. He goes down to the inside to cover it. He likes what he was seeing there.
Avatar Order Racing qualifies 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Morgan, the best of the bunch. O'Brien will be in 4th, but coming under pressure from the driver that put it on pole position. 41 laps to go, Dylan. We're halfway away from pit stops.
Oh my goodness, I forgot pit stops were even a thing. This has been a fantastic race, especially as the setup these cars have gotten into it. Remember, 80 laps in is when that bottom line was supposed to come into play. We're about to get to that 80-lap point.
You said it was a 3-line battle. We might actually see the 3-wide battle that you potentially promised us, Dylan. I tell you what, I am feeling it right now. As here comes Razmas. He's feeling it. Working all over the back of the Candyman. Gap out front, 3.1 seconds. Mike Rigney has waved goodbye to the rest of the competition.
The question is it going to be that way once they come around for pit stops in what? Let's just say, how many laps were you saying, Arjuna?
Probably 20 laps now.
20 laps. So if they do make it to that point, how many laps will he be back behind? Oh, as Matt Taylor tries to make a run on Mike Razmas, I don't think it's going to hold at all. I think Taylor's just getting way too dicey because he knows he has to be a little desperate right now.
Taylor had to get out of the throttle for a moment, and Razmas punches his ticket now to 6th spot. The Candyman the long way around, but I don't know if he's got enough momentum. I think Razmas will cover him off down through turns 1 and 2.
Yeah, I agree. I think even though they're side by side, I think the inside line is the safe bet here around turn 1 and 2, but it looks like Wardlow was pinching him for a moment. Now they're still side by side, so not sure. I thought he was going to clear him there.
Still not clear. Well, the long way work for Wardlow. Just that momentum that Razmas carries onto the entry of the corner has been holding him steady. I think this time, though, Wardlow may get clear across the start-finish line. Indeed, Wardlow holds on.
That is a fantastic defensive position.
What a battle, Dylan. What a battle we are being treated to. 37 laps left here in the HyperX Gateway 150. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back in a few moments' time. Welcome back to the Gateway Racetrack and the HyperX Gateway 150. 33 laps left to go. Your race leader down onto pit road. Things have been shaken up as Mike Rigney is now fighting in the lead pack, but not on the leading lap. My name is Arjuna Kankipati. Alongside in the Racebot TV commentary booth is Dylan Coyle. And Dylan, what a race we have been treated to so far. Just one caution very early on. Since then, the drivers in the series have been putting on a show.
It has been a fantastic race, and let's just talk right about Mike Rigney, because while he is currently it would look like 3rd place right now, being on a lap down, that's going to be really hairy because he's wanting to try and fight his way back in front of these guys to get back on the lead lap in case anything happens, any funny business, because we don't know how much longer these drivers can go on fuel. We think Rigney took less fuel on his previous pit stop before going back down in. This could be really hairy.
And so you can see on the left side, David Sirwa, the car that blinked first, leading the race from lap number 1 from pole position. Didn't save as much as maybe we thought he might have been able to. So he's 40 laps into his run. Chris Fowler had done some immense fuel saving to do the overcut that is clearly working wonders. He's now sitting in 2nd spot, all over the rear end of your race leader, Aaron Morgan. Fuel window projected to be anywhere from 48 to 49 laps, but Mike Rigney thought something different. He's come down early, not doing the overcut like we expected. Now he's got that full tank of fuel. Really surprised at that call, but at the end of the day, Dylan, I always say there's a reason why we're not down there on the track. There's a
Razmas.
Oh, is he coming down?
He's coming down right now. Smart. I think it's smart. He wants to get out of all of that competition, all of that dirty air. He's going to get some, not fresh tires, but some extra fuel. It's going to be a heavier car, but he doesn't have to necessarily worry about the battles. This is a strategy call.
Well, and we know that with the delta on pit road being about 33, 32 seconds here, you'll cycle only a couple of seconds down the road from where you were, so Razmas is still going to be in this leading pack of cars just at the tail end, which might work very, very nicely. Here you go, though. You can see Isaac Snyder is now rolling his way down onto pit road. There is Razmas, released from the box. He's going to feed out somewhere behind Matt Taylor, his main championship rival. There is almost 6 seconds between Taylor and the car behind him, Chris Lanini. So it's worked out well for Razmas, but the one thing he doesn't have, Dylan, is draft.
Yeah, doesn't have draft, but that isn't necessarily a bad thing because going through the corners, obviously, we saw what Mike Rigney was able to do without draft, so maybe it's something similar is going to happen here. These drivers did not have to fuel up all the way. There's only 26 laps to go, so they have that going for them as well.
Taylor and Wardlow scrapping side by side. Matt Taylor gets on through. I think the Candyman got a little bit loose because he's checked himself up about 4/10 and lost a whole heap of momentum, but out of turn 4, no one diving in this time around. At least from this leading pack of cars, I should say. It's been an exceptionally clean entry onto pit road, Dylan. We had kind of speculated that maybe some drivers would have some issues, but no such drama as Matt Taylor puts in the fastest lap with a 28.739. These drivers have clearly done their practice.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's still time for some little wrinkles in the entire fabric of this race. 25 to go. And if there's a caution right now, Mike Razmas and Mike Rigney would be caught a lap down. So we're still in those little scary moments for them.
Chris Lanini blinks. He's down onto pit road from where he was running in 9th position. Still about 10 laps away from the rest of the field requiring pit stops. Sira will be the first that will have to be forced onto pit road in about 4 laps time or so. Looking at a 20-lap run from there to the end. For Chris Fowler, probably only required to come down in about 10 laps time. So he is looking at potentially the shortest of all the trips down onto pit road. He's going to have the advantage not only of the overcut here, Dylan, but that shorter stop as well.
You know what? Not to cut off from what you were just saying right there, but the battling between Aaron Morgan and Chris Fowler, I have to say, it's really intense. And I wouldn't be shocked if they do come together at one point, which would also mean...
Don't say that.
I wouldn't be shocked because they are getting very close and very racy.
Don't say stuff like that as the Candyman punches in the fastest lap in front of him. Sirwa and Taylor were side by side for a moment. Sirwa slides up the track. Taylor will try and go to the inside this time around. That inside line has really come into effect. Working wonders. Taylor in the black HyperX car, your championship leader, now is going to come under attack from the Candyman.
Well, can he do it?
Not for now. That's the answer.
I was really hoping for a Candyman can thing.
I know, but I'm trying to avoid the puns. I mean, I don't want to get in trouble with your dad, Paul Smith.
I was like my dad, and then I'm like, oh yeah, Paul.
Yep, there we go. Ugh, I mean, Paul likes puns sometimes.
If it's not him doing the pun, he takes a very critical look at the pun.
That's true. Taylor Sirwa still side by side. Taylor is really going for it thick and thin right now. Nothing doing for now. Sirwa gets the run on Michael O'Brien. 7/10 back from Chris Fowler, of course. Oh, no, here we go. Pit stop strategy. We mentioned Sirwa would be the first down onto pit road. He will come down. 19 laps to go as the leaders across the line.
This is...
Oh, Fowler as well. Fowler hasn't done the overcut.
Wow. So this is one of the... These are some of these moments where you just... There's not much to say. You're just watching everything unfold, and you're holding with bated breath because you're not sure exactly what will happen. Like you said, Morgan is coming down into pit lane. Everyone else is just flying by. Oh, man, these are scary times for everybody.
And this is where, I mean, we really hope. I'm actually knocking on the wood around me right now.
Rigney,
Oh,
Rigney is back on the lead lap.
Dylan! Something's happened on the entry to pit road. Something has happened. Fortunately, series organizer George Anzaldo gathers things up, gets it pointed in the right direction, makes his way onto the entry lane. Let's take a look at the Racebot TV replay, though. It is a very tricky entry. Look at that car going over the bumps, goes for a four-wheel drift through the grass. He hangs on to that one.
What a nice save there, trying to get all the time he possibly could have gotten. You know, that would not have hurt Rigney, because Rigney, like I was saying, is back on the lead lap. So he would inherit first place if there was a caution and everyone had to come down into the pits.
Chris Reagan, David Rodriguez, they're down onto the lane as Michael O'Brien, the next car to come down onto pit road. Matt Taylor cycles to the net race lead. 17 laps to go. Taylor and Wardlow, they should be in the next time around. Jenkins will follow them down. Nick de Groot, who has worked his way into the top 5, at least for the time being, will try and have the shortest stop in his career. The Candyman takes advantage of the cars in front of him to use the draft to pull himself forward. There's Razmas. He is now 1.6 seconds behind David Sirois, who is 3 seconds behind Aaron Morgan, behind Chris Fowler. Aaron Morgan and Chris Fowler well and truly clear of the rest of the field.
Man, oh man, I really am worried here. I don't know what's going to happen. I feel like this is just question marks galore. I think the racing here has been some of the best we've seen all year.
Michael O'Brien, does he cycle in front of Chris Fowler? They'll be side by side on the entry into turn 3. Can Fowler sweep around the long way? Yes, he does. Cuts the nose off. Taylor, Wardlow, they're down onto pit road this time around. We're about to have our answer, Dylan. One more lap. We'll know what the race to the line is looking like.
Oh boy. Oh boy. Everyone's getting back onto this lead lap just about now. Paul Jenkins, Nick de Groot also down pit road. Mike Rigney has a very small comparative lead to Aaron Morgan right now. I think that's what we're going to see. I think we're going to see Rigney out in front, unless Taylor played it perfectly.
Taylor was half a second quicker in his pit box. What will it be? There's that's Rigney powering through 1 and 2. He might re-inherit the race lead. I think he will. But look at Matt Taylor. He has been struggling at points in this race, Dylan. He's now sitting in second spot, the best of the championship hopefuls.
This looks like a Scott Dixon-like move. You know, Dixon always seems like he's out of it until he's not. It felt that way right there.
Michael O'Brien coming under attack from Dustin Wardlow. Side by side through turn 1. Inside line has come into effect. Has it come on strong enough? Yes, it has, at least for now. O'Brien gets the run in towards turn number 3, but it's a little bit flatter. If Wardlow can send it in deep, he'll send it in deep. There's contact. That's sure.
They keep it.
Oh, no caution. No caution.
Oh, they kept it going straight, but it looked like there was obvious damage right there. But that second push kept him back going around the corner. We got to take another look at that, because that was just remarkable.
We'll try and get a replay of what happened there, but that dramatic to say the least. I mean, those two cars now in some danger of slipping down the field, and a car that is slipping down the field. It's heartbreak once more for Paul Jenkins. I think some more technical issues have befell his car. He'll pop back into our timing screens and pop back up the running order. Let's go ahead and turn our attention to what happened here. It was an aggressive move, first from Wardlow down and through turns 1 and 2, but then Michael O'Brien, I don't know if he was clear here, Dylan. He clearly got the message from his spotter. Let's jump on board. Let's take a look from the Candyman's point of view.
And that's one of those you're clear, but you're not clear moments where you could shut the door, but it could lead to something like this.
We'll go super slow-mo, European style here, and just take a look at the second touch. Like you were saying, Dylan, that's what saved it. Wardlow goes up in the air, at least for the time being, but O'Brien gets straightened on. Now, might actually be more damage to the front of Dustin Wardlow's car.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me there. Those front wings matter so much, and once you get them hit, I mean, especially when the full force of a car, you just push back around, wouldn't surprise me.
Wardlow's down on pit road, so I think that gives us our answer. O'Brien is nursing that car around. off the pace a couple of tenths of a second, but I mean, the worst that I think he may finish now is 7th, which wouldn't necessarily be the worst thing in the world. Taylor is all over the rear wing of Mike Rigney. Rigney is 26 laps into his run. That's just how early he came down in comparison to the rest of the field. Not going to be a fuel advantage here, no tire advantage, just two drivers side by side with 8 laps to go.
35 races after tonight from Mike Rigney. 0 wins, 3 top 5s. Is he going to put a win in the column for him?
Will he break the streak? It will be 7 to go at the line. Morgan has closed the gap, but not enough. It is now 6 tenths between Morgan and the race leader. Taylor was the championship leader coming into this one. Morgan was in 3rd. Razmas has gotten around that damaged car of O'Brien, plus 13 on the day. Razmas has kept his championship hopes alive, but 50 points the advantage for Taylor coming into tonight. Can he go around the long way and get things done, Dylan?
Well, right now, it looks like he has the speed. There was a little bit of shaking and baking by Rigney. Is there going to be a pass into turn 1? He's thinking about it. It's not close enough. That's going to let Aaron Morgan, I think, get a nice run here. Oh, no! Rigney hits the wall, it looked like.
Rigney hits the wall. He concedes his chance of victory, his first in his Lionheart career. But it's now the teammates, Taylor and Morgan. It will be 5 laps to go at the line. Can Aaron Morgan steal a victory here? At the line, 5 to go. Morgan to the inside, side by side. It's Morgan to the lead.
Oh, that wasn't even close. Aaron Morgan just took that spot away, but he slides up. Now Matt Taylor is going to have all the speed here down the backstretch. This is huge. This is a championship battle. Matt Taylor has made his way back from it looked like a mediocre night. Now he's competing for the win here. 4 to go at the line.
I tell you what, I think Morgan's the one that's looking strongest right now. Taylor covers all the way to the inside, long way around, force for Aaron Morgan in the yellow and white. But that low line has come in, it has come on strong, but clipping the curve, that checks up the momentum for Taylor. Morgan back to the lead.
Look at Fowler. Chris Fowler is still in this race now.
He's been quick. Is he quick enough to steal one? 3 laps this time around. It is coming down to the wire. Dylan, I said it might not be a photo finish. I am so glad I'm about to be proven wrong.
Hey, listen, I told you let's check again in like 49 laps or so. We might see a 3-way tie for this a la Cars.
Oh, yeah, no, we seriously could. I mean, and what a way to finish off this run of short tracks that we've been to. It's 2.5 miles to go this time around. Morgan, Taylor, and Fowler separated by half a second. Taylor back to the inside as he'll come in through turns 1 and 2. The two teammates. What's rule number 1 in racing, Dylan? Do not hit your teammate.
Yeah, but when you're racing for a championship in the last couple laps, all the rules get thrown out, in my opinion. Chris Fowler, he could still win it. They almost come together.
They almost break that rule. It's 1 lap to go. Taylor gets shoved up the track. Fowler, can he get the run? Can he make this pass happen? We are looking at a photo finish. The white flag is in the air here in the Worldwide Technology Raceway. Taylor to the inside, to the lead as Fowler punches in the fastest lap of the race so far. Down the back straightaway, here we go. Will history be made? Could we get closer than 1.5 hundredths of a second? The title is on the line here. 2 drivers that cannot afford to wreck. Matt Taylor and nose in front. Aaron Morgan gets the run, gets the draft, but it's not going to be enough. Matt Taylor wins the HyperX Gateway 150. What a race that we've had, Dylan. The championship advantage gets extended.
Scott Dixon-esque by Matt Taylor.
Incredible. And the margin at the line, 4 hundredths of a second. It is not the closest finish we've seen in history here at Gateway, but as the fireworks go off, fireworks went off on the track as well.
Wow. Aaron Morgan, I think he's going to be just over 60 points back now than Matt Taylor. Razmas, he's going to lose even more and go into 3rd in the championship.
Can we add some more short tracks, please?
Please?
I don't know where else we've had to go. We've been to so many of them here in 2021. I mean, wow, what a race. Phoenix was round number 3. I love that one. New Hampshire, Iowa, Gateway. That's been our last 3 races. Each of them has put on a show. And as Matt Taylor burns the house down, I tell you what, Dylan, the rookie in this competition has just won his 3rd race of the season, his 3rd win in 4 races.
He had no right to win this race when there were 30 laps to go. And look what he did now. I mean, that is what you have to do to win a championship. We were talking about mitigating his losses in this race for most of it. And look at what he's doing. Burning it out here at Gateway.
Some very well-earned donuts. Let's go ahead and take a look at our Car Knox race result. It is 400s between the teammates, but it is Matt Taylor, the championship leader, that wins for the 3rd time in this season. What a race it was from him. Aaron Morgan came so close, but it just wasn't close enough. Chris Fowler, to illustrate how close the podium was only 3/10 behind the battle at the line. Fowler at one point looked maybe like he was the favorite for victory, just not working out in his favor. Mike Rigney, well, strategy almost played out perfectly for him, but he bobbled into the wall. His quest for his first Lionheart victory will go on, but we know just how quick he is becoming. David Sirah put it on pole once more. He is really coming to grips with the ovals, but just unfortunate that some clean air didn't work out in his favor. He finishes then in 5th position in the Lavoie Motorsports machine. Mike Rasmussen rebounds from another disappointing qualifying performance, plus 13, punches his ticket to 6th. Michael O'Brien started on the front row. He finishes in 7th. Some late race controversy between him and the Candyman Dustin Wardlow, but still, O'Brien, at least for now, holds on to 7th. Lanini, Jenkins, and Reagan complete our top 10. Top 10 separated by 12 seconds, with Nick DeGroot, David Rodriguez, 11th and 12th. Photo finished with them, just a 10th between those 2 drivers as well. George Anzaldo, Craig Forsyth, Alex Guyon, Ariel Alanis, and Isaac Snyder, the final cars on the leading lap. Richie Hearn stuck it out there to come home 2 laps down after some unfortunate strategy and a mix-up with Danny Roberts, who finishes then in 19th position. Another driver hanging it out there with Dustin Wardlow, so disappointed at times running up there in the top 5, settles then for a 20th spot. Robert Mikes, Chris Staples, Jean-Francois Matt, and DJ Clark complete our 24 cars, and the non-finishers 4 retirements in the race, and what a race it was. It is time then to dive into our HyperX post-race show, because the Lionheart Racing Series is powered by HyperX, makers of premier gaming gear like the legendary ultra-comfortable Cloud line of gaming headsets. Whatever you play, however you play, HyperX knows that we're all gamers, and HyperX is always ready to play. For more information on HyperX's full line of products, visit hyperxgaming.com, and don't forget to use the promo code Lionheart15, that's LIONHRT15, for 15% off all orders. And so, waiting for us in HyperX victory lane is a very jubilant Matt Taylor. 3rd victory of the season, Matt. You came into this one with a 50-point advantage. You are really coming on strong as we head to the final 3rd of the season.
Yeah, tonight was interesting, I guess I would say. I absolutely did not expect to be that close to the lead on that after that final pit stop. I was kind of stuck back there, and it seemed like a bunch of us were. Finally, the car and the track gripped up there at the end of that 2nd stint, but I absolutely had no idea I'd be that close to the front.
It looked at times that you weren't necessarily as comfortable. I mean, the field was single file at the front for the first half of the race, and then as the bottom line came in, we saw more and more moves taking place. Once you were, in, I think it was 8th position at one point in time, did you just sit back and think, okay, there's still an opportunity here? You dug deep, and you said you didn't think you'd be that close, but ultimately, championships are won by never giving up, by putting yourself in the right position at the right time. It worked out well for you.
Yeah, I was really just waiting, kind of like you said, I was waiting for that car and track to grip up, to kind of switch. I really liked using that bottom line to make moves and stuff, and I tried it a couple times. It was absolutely not there early on. I was kind of trying to figure out you know, I felt like I was a little bit quicker, but I couldn't find the line, and then I guess that final pit stop was just perfect or something that made up all that ground. And then once it was just Mike Rigney and myself, and then Aaron, and that once I was at the front, then I could battle and I was comfortable. But interesting night for sure.
And I'd be remiss if I don't talk about your teammate Aaron as well, because you guys as a three-man organization have been dominant in 2021, and it might be a fight between you and Aaron coming to the closing stages. Mike Razmas still definitely in the mix, but he's had to work his way back up from some disappointing qualifying performances. Rule number one in racing is never hit your teammate. It looked like it got close between the two of you there at the front of the field.
Yeah, we were really close, and I know he wants to win bad, and I do too, and we're gonna race each other hard and fair, and he's fast and I'm fast, and you know, Mike Rasmus is really fast, and the goal I think for me is I just want to keep the pressure on, not take any, you know, not make any dumb mistakes or anything, don't give it away, but if I can keep the pressure on these guys and keep kind of stretching that, that'll be huge by the time we get, you know, down the stretch here to California, and especially with Michigan, which could be a pack race and could be chaotic. 3
victories this year, extending your championship advantage. Great run tonight. Matt cannot wait to see you in action this Saturday in the Lionheart IndyCar US 500.
Thank you. Should be fun.
Should be a fun one indeed. And, I mean, Michigan, the home of the next Lionheart Retro Series race. Of course, it will host Indycar Competition this coming Saturday. Let's dial up then the second of the Avatar Order Racing teammates. Let's talk to Aaron Morgan. And Aaron, so close to victory there. I mean, just heartbreak for you, I think, but at the same time, you are really putting the pressure on your teammate for the championship, and going to the road courses where we know you are strong in this Lotus 79, things may swing back in your favor.
Oh, yeah, hopefully, but the thing is, Matt is also really strong on the road courses, too. I think I can think of a few that he had the edge on me, like Watkins Glen, he just was pulling me along. He helped me there by being faster, and Sonoma, he was definitely quicker. But we'll see. I hope I can. I'm going to have to really put in a lot of work because I've just been losing ground on him the last 4 or 5 rounds, even if I do well. I've had some bad luck like Motegi, but yeah, he's just always that few spots ahead, or that one spot ahead in this case of here in New Hampshire.
What was it like for you, Aaron? I mean, you qualified near the front, but it seemed like very difficult early on in the race to make anything happen. You didn't really let David run away with things, but seemed content to run around in second at least for a while. And then when the track started gripping in, especially down on the low line, things started to get a bit more interesting and a bit more dicey at points in time.
Yeah, up front, I generally was just sitting there wanting to save fuel, because the thing that we've learned in this is just you don't want to lead. You don't want to lead at the start of the race. You don't want to lead until the final stint and you know you can make it to the end. And it was really a game of saving enough fuel and not falling too far behind him to where I have to push to not, you know, fall back. And the second stint is where it turned up, because Rigney got by Fowler and he started pulling a huge gap. He had some insane clean air pace that even once I passed Fowler, you know, Fowler was stuck behind me and I was still falling back. So I think the two of us had the same pace, but Rigney was just gone, and that's when I was getting worried.
Well, and now Michigan coming up first for the Indy cars, then for the Lotus 79. Is it a track you like, and what are you kind of hoping for heading to a super speedway?
Personally, I don't like it because I'm not a fan of pack racing. I don't like that. We really get that Daytona-style pack racing, especially in this car when we go to Michigan. And I'm not a big fan of that. I hope I can survive and get a top 5. And, well, I always said I don't want to wish against my teammate, but I'm going to need some luck for some points here. So a pack race, maybe I'll get some luck. You know, we're pretty far ahead, like you said, the team standings. Maybe we could spare an accident or so, maybe.
Time to get the curse down. And I tell you what, our services are available. I'll send you my PayPal address. The commentator's curse is always out there. Congratulations tonight, Aaron. Looking forward to seeing you this Saturday for the Butt Kicker US 500.
Thanks, man.
So that was Aaron Morgan, a 1-2 for Avatar Order Racing. Let's now talk to Chris Fowler, who, as Justin Prince would have put it, was in the popcorn seat. A great view of the action for you there, Chris. I don't think you necessarily could have done too much there. Forcing it 3 wide would always potentially have ended in tears.
Yeah, I was just kind of riding back there with them riding side by side. Just trying. There was no getting in dirty air, it's really hard to get a run. So I just wait for those two to make a mistake, and then I can make my move. But those guys are just too good. But happy, man, I'm super happy with third. That was an awesome race. I'm glad to come out and survive. And just real quick, say thanks to the 65 Fibrosis Foundation and the Donate Life for partnering with me on board. It's really awesome to have that car on the podium this week. So
great that you're racing for a worthy cause as well. But I do have to ask you, Chris, I mean, a little bit adrift from the championship fight, but there's still a pretty fierce fight going on between you, Chris Reagan, and David Sirwa for fourth in the championship. And I should throw in there as well Michael O'Brien. I think the four of you were separated by about 17 points coming into this race. Interesting tracks coming up. Michigan, then 3 road courses finishing at Fontana. What's going to be your strongest race? Which is the one you're most looking forward to?
Oh, well, this year, definitely the ovals are where I need to succeed. I have to beat those guys on ovals because those guys are just a touch faster than me on road courses. I'm hoping to try to improve at Road America this year on the road course, but definitely the ovals is where I'm going to make my move up in the points. So if I can get ahead of those guys before those 3 road cases, I think I'll be okay, but it's going to be a tough battle. We're all so tight right there, so it's going to be a great battle to the end.
And then, of course, IndyCar competition coming up. Butt Kicker US 500, 500 miles of racing this Saturday. I'm sure you're, on one hand, a little bit nervous. We talked to Aaron, who said he's not a fan of pack racing, but at the same time, it's double points on the line this weekend.
Yeah, I'm excited. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be action-packed. It's going to be pretty crazy. Definitely not a huge fan of that kind of packy race, but it's going to be a lot of fun. Just going to have to strategize, make the right moves, try to save some fuel, stay out of trouble, and see if we can come away with that. Double points is huge. I've had a rough season at IndyCar this year, so looking for a good finish this year and see if we can't move up some more stands in the standings. But it should be a fun race.
Congratulations on third, Chris. Looking forward to seeing you this Saturday in the Butt Kicker US 500.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
That wraps up our podium interviews. That was Chris Fowler for the HyperX Racing team. The number 20 car finishing in third position. Dylan, wow. I mean, 3 short tracks. Okay, yes, technically Gateway is not a short track, but I'm going to maintain that it races like one, especially at these speeds. 3 incredible races, and now Super Speedway next up. Both Aaron and Chris said they don't necessarily like pack racing. They're going to have to deal with it, and you know what? That might be what decides the championship. How comfortable these drivers feel heading to a race like that. September 30th is going to be fireworks, and I tell you what, not too happy that we're now looking at almost a full month's wait between this round and the next.
Yeah, I just recognized that. What's all that about? I mean, my goodness, that's going to be a great race when it does come. I don't necessarily think it'll be championship deciding because we still have all of the other races that are left to go. And I don't know if you can now see on our faces, that was an amazing race. So glad we got to be a part of it.
Oh, it's so much fun. And for a car that wasn't necessarily designed for oval racing, it definitely puts on a show. And now, the next question, I think, and I forgot to ask these drivers about it in those post-race interviews. New tires. New challenges to deal with. And the good thing is that they have some time to learn, to practice, to work within their teams. And I think for a certain Avatar Order racing team, it's going to be one where maybe not all the secrets get shared.
Yeah, I wouldn't share the secrets if I was any good at racing on these tires that we have right now. But I will say, for one thing, it's going to be really interesting. I don't think necessarily once we get to Michigan, but once we start the road courses again, it's going to be interesting to see how these cars are able to handle. Because Michigan, well, it is pack racing. It's not necessarily decided by tires. What it will be decided by, though, is luck, randomness, and whoever is able to keep themselves clean and out of trouble.
And what a finish we saw here today. Before we say goodbye, we'd like to thank the partners of the Lionheart Racing Series who help to make this all happen. The SimXperience AccuForce Pro V2 is the premier professional simulation racing steering system. The key to its incredible realism is the groundbreaking direct drive motor control system, providing a driving experience that's second only to the real thing. For more information on the entire SimXperience ecosystem, visit simexperience.com. The Lionheart Racing Series is powered by HyperX, makers of premier gaming gear like the legendary ultra-comfortable cloud line of gaming headsets. Whatever you play, however you play, HyperX knows that we're all gamers. For more information on HyperX products, visit hyperxgaming.com and don't forget to use the promo code Lionheart15, that's LIONHRT15, for 15% off all orders. For sim racers, the Butt Kicker Gamer 2 or Simulation Kit has the missing driver-to-car connection, bringing more realism to your sessions. By accurately responding to in-game audio, you can feel the track like never before, providing increased vehicle handling and faster lap times. Are you ready for the most immersive experience in sim racing? For more information, visit thebuttkicker.com and don't forget to use the promo code LION2021 for 20% off all orders. Minus 273 is the premier name in karting gloves. Their industry-leading gloves are super lightweight and durable, made of a breathable poly spandex. Whether you're a kart or a sim racer, Minus 273 gives you the control to reach victory lane. For more information on Minus 273's full line of gloves and apparel, visit minus273.biz and don't forget to also use the promo code Minus 273 LHRS15 for 15% off all orders. Looking for entertaining sim racing content? Look no further than the DMLC Racing channel. Follow along with former Lionheart Retro Series Driver of the Year Mark Cohn's racing escapades as he battles for wins and avoids wrecks with cat-like reflexes, all while providing commentary sure to make you laugh, cry, or both. Follow along by subscribing to the DMLC Racing channel on YouTube and like his Facebook page at the DMLC Racing channel. It's not just them, but so many more that help make all of this possible. To learn more about the partners of the Lionheart Racing Series, or about the 3 Lionheart-sanctioned competitions, visit LionheartRacingSeries.com and join the series Discord to stay involved with the virtual paddock. We'll be back this weekend for Lionheart IndyCar Series action as the second Triple Crown of the season gets underway. It's the Butt Kicker US 500, 250 laps of action. The IR18s will be out on show. The next time that the Retro Series will take to the track will be at Michigan as well, but that will be Thursday, September 30th. Until then, it is time to say goodbye, but to stay involved across of social media, make sure to follow along with Lionheart ESTV and Racebot TV for all your esports actions. Hit that red subscribe button, the bell next to it on YouTube to stay up to date with Racebot and to get notified every single time we go live with the great sim racing series that we get to cover. On behalf of the entire Racebot TV team, for my co-commentator Dylan Cole, my name is Arjuna Kengipati. We'll see you this weekend for more Triple Crown racing in the Lionheart IndyCar Series, but for now, so long and goodbye.